I can press the rotate screen display until I can see the screen properly. What you'll notice here is that we've already pre-populated this first page of the form with the proper participant number, the proper site ID, visit number, and pre-populated the visit date. If necessary, you can change these items. If I wanted to change that to yesterday, I can do that. Then move on to the next page and start answering the questions. Has the participant completed predictive testing? Yes. And I can quickly go through answering the questions as necessary. And the date the consent was signed, I need to type that in. I'm going to select the box, and there's a little checkbox that shows up here, and I'll enter the date that it was signed as 08/11/2009. Insert that date, and then move on to page 2. Answer the rest of the questions appropriately as the interview goes on, and then click Save and Close. When you click Save and Close, it's going to save that file in the appropriate spot with a proper identifier for the subject on your local machine. What you should notice now is that inclusion-exclusion criteria has turned green, indicating that there is already an inclusion-exclusion criteria form created. If you need to edit that form, you can double-click on it again, and now it will show you a list of all the forms for inclusion-exclusion criteria. Most of the time there will only be one of them. You can select that form and open it, and you'll notice that it is pre-populated with the answers that we had done previously. So that'll allow you to change answers that you had just given if there was a mistake made. Second item we're going to do is manual enrollment. And I'm going to go through this very quickly. So now as we're about halfway through the process, I'm going to show you a form that has a couple of features that are unique to the tablet. So if you select the Columbia Suicide Scale, Severity Scale, the first thing that you'll have is the standard startup screen with the information at the top for participant number, site number, visit number, and visit date. Then you'll notice that you can't move beyond this screen. The first thing you have to do is you have to answer whether this is a baseline visit or a follow-up visit. And once you answer which type of visit it is, it will direct you to different screens in the Columbia Suicide Scale that are appropriate for either a baseline or a follow-up visit. This allows us to dynamically change how the views of the form look based on whether it's a baseline visit or a follow-up visit for essentially the same questions. And as you answer these questions on the Columbia Suicide Scale, you'll notice that the page actually dynamically changes as the questions are answered. So for instance, if you answer yes, then to these questions, you'll notice that there are sections for you to describe each of the questions that are answered yes. And if you answer no to lifetime, current is automatically filled in as no, and it will automatically allow you to move to page 3. If any of these questions are answered yes, then you have to continue on answering questions 3, 4, 5, and 6. And as you answer those, you'll notice that again there's a section to describe why the answers were yes. And again, because we've answered yes to some of those questions, we do have to answer the questions on page 2. Had we answered no to all of those questions, we would have immediately been taken to page 3. And here again, there's more logic so that if you answer no to all of these questions, it will automatically take you beyond the end of the page so that you do not have to answer some of the questions. And if I move back and answer yes to any of these questions, then I will change to a different page that actually requires me to answer some of these questions. Again, when I save and close, this will take me back to our SPSynch Manager. Okay, now that we have completed all of the forms, you can see that this entire work bundle is green. And if that's the end of your day, then you can finish, and we'll move on to the sync. Or if you want to move on to self-reports, you can click the self-report section, click the appropriate work bundle for the self-reports. So if I'm on my baseline and I want to know the companion forms that need to be filled out, then that's my bundle ID and I have a single bundle. So this is the baseline new enrollee companion forms that need to be filled out. Now I would put the pen away, put the tablet back in laptop mode, or provide the tablet to the participant, and again switch the screen so that it is configured appropriately for viewing in this mode. And now they can answer questions. So I'm going to just show you one of these, the SCL 90. For the SCL 90, I need to specify whether this is a companion or participant. If I select companion, I need to know which gender this form is for. So my primary participant in this case is a male participant, so I would select male. And that is going to make the questions gender appropriate. And then answer all the questions, and I'm going to skip through quickly here, but after all the questions are answered, it will save that and go back to the SPSynch Manager. Now if this is the end of our day, we want to make sure that after we have finished all of our after visit reports, so our CCTC unique participant ID, our vitals, our motor scores, annual retention activity report, signature forms. We want to make sure that all of the forms that we completed today get passed on back to the SharePoint site or the central repository for including into the master database. And that step is quite easy. You just go again to the synchronization screen. You'll have to type in your predict ID and password and synchronize the files. And as it's connecting to the network mount, you can see in the log that we are uploading files. And I would just like to bring your attention to a few things here. In this log file, this is the Columbia Suicide Rating Scale for Predict version 2.0 for subject 9933 for site 950 for a baseline 201 visit completed on August 27th, 2009 at approximately 2:44 p.m. And here you can see all of the forms that we actually completed. Those have been submitted to the SharePoint data site and now are available to the central data analysis team for review and analysis into or inclusion into the master database. I'm going to now I'm now going to go to the participants list in the SPSync tool. And because I've completed working with subject 9993, I will no longer need them, so I'm just going to remove that subject from my local list. And after I do that, it's going to again ask me to synchronize my files. This should take a very short time because there's very few files to move. And it's going to back up all of the local files for that 9993 participant, and now I am ready to complete my day. And you'll notice now that participant ID now no longer has participant 9993 listed, and I could move on to a new participant, or I could quit using SPSynch Manager. That concludes the tutorial for how to use SPSynch Manager to collect electronic CRF files for the Predict HD project. Thank you.